Hello, drama devotees. It's your faithful narrators from Days Drama Digest, the only channel that dives headfirst into the twisted, tear-soaked, pulse-pounding chaos of days of our lives. Today is November 3rd, and Salem is still reeling from a Halloween that refused to die quietly. The jack-o'-lanterns may be flickering out, but the fires of revenge, terror, and bittersweet farewells are burning brighter than ever. If you blinked and missed today's episode, buckle up. What follows is not a summary, it's a full-blown resurrection of every scream, every tear, every heart-stopping second. We're talking over 2,000 words of unfiltered Salem madness. Let's plunge into the abyss. The Horton Town Square, usually a quaint postcard of small-town charm, had morphed into a war zone of gourds and grudges. Orange carnage littered the cobblestones. The air reeked of smashed pumpkin guts and the metallic tang of impending doom. At the epicenter of this vegetable Armageddon stood Rachel Black and Thomas DeMera, two pint-sized masterminds whose cherubic faces masked the diabolical glee of seasoned saboteurs. Their weapon? A pumpkin Canona Frankenstein's monster of PVC pipes, bungee cords, and pure spike cobbled together in the DeMera basement under the cover of night. Their target? Ket Green, the woman who dared to cross Rachel's mother, Kristen, one too many times. In Rachel's 8-year-old mind, Kat's crime was unforgivable, existing. And in Thomas's equally vengeful heart, loyalty to his cousin demanded blotter at the very least, public humiliation via high-velocity squash. Load it, Rachel hissed, her pigtails bouncing like twin pendulums of doom. Thomas, eyes gleaming with the unholy light of a child who discovered fireworks, shoved another pumpkin into the barrel. The cannon groaned. The crowd oblivious townsfolk in half-hearted costume-essured, thinking this was just another festive spectacle. Oh, how wrong they were. Kat, oblivious in a sleek black catsuit ironic, given the circumstances, strutted through the square, flipping her hair, and basking in the attention of a few lingering admirers. She had no idea that two children had declared her public enemy number one. The first pumpkin launched with a whoosh that rattled windows. It arced through the sky like a flaming comet, splattering inches from Kat's designer boots. She yelped, leaping assidionly for the second pumpkin to follow, then the third. The crowd's cheers turned to gasps. This wasn't a game anymore. Faster, Thomas shrieked, cranking the cannon's makeshift winch. Rachel's laughter was manic, a sound that would haunt nightmares. Pumpkin after pumpkin rocketed toward Kat, who was now sprinting in zigzags, her screams piercing the autumn air. The square devolved into chaos, children crying, adults shouting, a clown dropping his cotton candy in slow-motion horror. But the true terror was lurking in the shadows. From the alley beside the pub emerged a figure straight out of a 1950s B-movie. A mad scientist, wild white wig askew, lab coat stained with what looked suspiciously like blood, and a gleaming surgical knife clutched in a gloved hand. The costume was uncanny to uncanny. It was the exact replica of the one Jeremy Horton had worn to the Horton Halloween party years ago, down to the fake bolt through the neck. But Jeremy was nowhere in sight. This was someone else. Someone with murder in their eyes. The mad scientist moved with predatory silence, weaving through the panicked crowd. Their target, Alex Kyriakis, who was standing near the cannon, oblivious, sipping a pumpkin spice latte and scrolling through his phone. The knife glinted under the street lights. The figure raised it high. Meanwhile, Kat's desperate dodge from a particularly vicious pumpkin sent her stumbling directly into the mad scientist's path. The blade arced downward, a silver streak of death. Time slowed. The crowd's screams became a deafening roar. Alex, in a moment of pure instinct, hurled his latte aside and shoved Kat with all his might. She literally flew crashing into Chad DiMera, who caught her in a tangle of limbs and shock. The knife sliced through empty air, missing Kat's throat by millimeters. The mad scientist staggered, thrown off balance by the sudden chaos, then vanished into the alley like smoke. Chad clutched Kat, both of them trembling. "Are you okay?" he gasped. Kat nodded, speechless, her eyes wide as saucers. Alex stood frozen, chest heaving, the reality of what had almost happened sinking in. The crowd erupted into pandemonium. Someone shouted for the police. Someone else was filming on their phone. And in the distance, Rachel and Thomas's pumpkin cannon finally exploded in a shower of splinters and orange goo. The square was a crime scene within minutes. Police lights bathed the carnage in red and blue. Roman Brady, ever the stoic cop, barked orders while Kate Roberts hovered nearby, clutching her pearls and demanding answers. The mad scientist was gone. No footprints. No witnesses who'd seen a face. Just the knife, abandoned in a pile of pumpkin guts, and a town on the edge of hysteria. Alex, still shaking, pointed a trembling finger at the alley. "It was Jeremy's costume. I swear it was Jeremy." His voice cracked with conviction. Jeremy, who'd been at home nursing a hangover from the previous night's party, was dragged into the station for questioning within the hour. His protests, "I was asleep. Check my Ring camera," fell on deaf ears. The evidence was damning. The costume, the knife, the history of Horton family drama. Salem had its scapegoat. Meanwhile, Rachel and Thomas were busted. Their pumpkin cannon plot was exposed when a shard of PVC was traced back to the DiMera mansion's garden shed. Kristen DiMera arrived in a whirlwind of fury and designer boots, her face a mask of maternal outrage. "You could have killed someone," she thundered, dragging Rachel by the ear. Thomas, usually stoic, burst into tears when Stefan DiMera loomed over him, arms crossed. The kid's reign of terror was over. Grounded for life. Probably. Therapy. Definitely. But the real tragedy was just beginning. Across town, in the soft glow of the DiMera living room, a different kind of drama unfolded. Johnny DiMera and Chanel Dupree sat on the edge of the couch, holding hands so tightly their knuckles were white. Across from them, Javi and Leo Stark cradled baby Tesoro, the child they'd fought to protect through custody battles, heartbreak, and more plot twists than a telenovela. Belle Brady, ever the composed attorney, cleared her throat. "The paperwork is final. Johnny and Chanel, you are officially Tesoro's legal parents." The room exhaled. Channel's eyes filled with tears. Johnny's grin could have powered the town grid. But then came the moment that shattered hearts. The naming. Johnny stood, voice trembling with pride. "We've chosen a name that honors family. From this day forward, he will be Trey DiMera, John Roman DiMera III." The name hung in the air like a benediction. Trey, a tribute to Johnny's grandfather, John Black, and a promise of the legacy this child would carry. Javi's sob broke the silence. He pressed a kiss to Trey's forehead, his tears falling onto the baby's tiny curls. "You're gonna have the best life, Mio," he whispered. Leo, usually a quick machine, was speechless, his eyes red-rimmed. He handed Trey to Chanel with shaking hands. "Take care of him?" he managed, voice cracking. He's everything." The goodbye was agonizing. Javi and Leo lingered in the doorway, watching as Chanel rocked Trey, humming a lullaby. Johnny joined them, placing a hand on each of their shoulders. "You gave him a chance when no one else would. We'll never forget that." The three men embraced, a silent pact forged in grief and gratitude. In the Kyriakis mansion, Aaron sat alone in the study, a glass of scotch untouched on the desk. The adoption papers lay before him, his signature still wet. Giving up his parental rights to Trey had been the hardest thing he'd ever done. He'd held that baby in his arms, felt the weight of his tiny body, and known deep in his soul that Johnny and Chanel could give him a stability he never could. But knowing didn't make it easier. The door creaked open. Bonnie Lockhart, of all people, poked her head in. "Hey, sugar. Thought you could use some company?" She plopped down beside him, uninvited but welcome. "I know what it's like to lose a kid. Not the same. But the ache's universal." Aaron managed a weak smile. For once, Bonnie's chatter was a lifeline. They talked for hours. About regret. About love. About the terrifying beauty of doing the right thing even when it rips your heart out. By the time Bonnie left, Aaron's glass was empty, but his soul was a fraction lighter. He wasn't okay. He might never be, but he wasn't alone. As night fell, Salem licked its wounds. The pumpkin cannon was confiscated. Jeremy Horton was released for now, but the whispers followed him. Cat Green swore off Halloween forever. And in the DeMera mansion, Trey DeMera slept in his new crib, unaware of the chaos that had paved his path to a family. But questions lingered. Who was the mad scientist? Was it a random psycho? Or someone with a grudge against Alex? Against the Hortons? Against all of Salem? The knife was bagged as evidence, but the answers were as elusive as the figure in the lab coat. One thing was certain, Halloween was over, but the horror was just beginning. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.